while the rest of us might be sweltering through summer, parts of Tasmania have been blanketed in snow. Residents at the Great Lake and the state's central highlands shivering through temperatures below zero. But it didn't stop one guy checking out the white stuff in his shorts. Hobart holds the record for the coldest Aussie capital city on Christmas Day, 12.6 degrees in 1984.
One thing that they're not questioning here is this normal for this time of the year, even for Tasmania? Is there something to this? Okay, one cold day here and there doesn't make it a global cooling, but what is it that is actually going on? I think it's one of the biggest hoax that had been produced by governments, by the elite. If you believe in conspiracy theories, some of them are conspiracy facts. There had been findings where the so-called scientific community wasn't really there. It was a paid-for scientific community and scientific research. So why would they do it? The biggest reason why they would want us to believe that there is global warming, which, by the way, they're not calling global warming anymore. They're calling climate change. So who can argue that climate changes? Nobody. So they're correct there. The biggest gripes that the alternative community and alternative scientific community has is that when they tell you that the science is settled, we are warming, that has to be a red flag, because science should never be settled. Science should be proving things and then trying to disprove those things. That's the basis of scientific method. But when they tell you science is settled, where we are global warming and we are causing it as humanity, that is one big red flag. Now, there are many people talking about this global cooling. Unfortunately, global cooling is worse for the humanity and the planet than it is global warming. If you got warmer climate, no, the solar caps will not melt and we're not all going to drown. What would happen is that the climate will be slightly warmer, which means that there'll be more time for crops and bigger yields for crops, which means more food. So one person or one economist out of all people talking about economical cycles as well as weather cycles and climate cycles is Martin Armstrong of armstrongeconomics.com/blog. He writes about all sorts of things, and one of them is the climate change, and he says that the fascinating aspect of the environment is this unprecedented bias that somehow humankind has altered the climate. Why these scientists do not try to see if such a trend is natural and extends back before 1900s is just mind-numbing. Martin Armstrong says a record-setting area of cold water was found in the North Atlantic, which has caused some scientists to ring the alarm. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, recently discovered this cold spot data, which is in line with our models that warn that we are in for not global warming but a deep freeze. There is another article, more recent, that Martin Armstrong references global cooling. Unfortunately, again, is, and I quote, "While the government is using the global warming theory to raise taxes, the real danger is global cooling. The significance of being unprepared means that we will face a rising threat of a food shortage in the years ahead. This is the real danger of global cooling." He's got his arrays and his cycles data. It does appear that we are looking at a rise in food prices after 2017. This will in part be caused by weather, but we must also respect that there is rising civil unrest that typically corresponds to a reduction in food supplies. Well, something to think about. He is hoping in one of his other writings that this is going to be a quick freeze, quick deep freeze and not centuries long, because the humanities go down the spiral of war and conflict when the globe cools down. It has happened in the past. It's happened when there were fewer people on this earth. And the only way to prove, as the so-called scientists are calling it, we are causing it, the only way to prove it is to take the humans out of the equation and then let it be for a couple of 100 years and see what happens. But obviously that's impossible. So how they ever come up with data to say that we are global warming and humans are causing it is just not scientific. What's causing it is a lack of sunspots, and solar activity of the sun has been reducing, and that's been reported, and that's what's making this next cycle a cooling cycle again, unfortunately, because that's not a good thing for humanity.